The vast expanse of space, once a realm of wonder and exploration for humanity, had become a bitter reminder of their exile. It had been centuries since the Galactic Council, in its infinite wisdom, had deemed Earth too volatile, too unpredictable to be allowed free rein among the stars. The decision had come swiftly, without warning, and with devastating consequences. In the early days of humanity's venture into interstellar travel, they had caught the attention of the Galactic Council, an ancient coalition of advanced species that governed the known universe. At first, the Council had been intrigued by the tenacity and adaptability of these newcomers. Humans, with their short lifespans and fragile bodies, had managed to overcome their planetary limitations and reach for the stars. But as humanity expanded, establishing colonies on distant worlds and pushing the boundaries of their technology, the Council grew wary. They saw in humans a reflection of their own tumultuous past, a species driven by curiosity, ambition, and an insatiable hunger for growth. It was this very drive that had led to countless wars and near extinctions in the history of other Council races. The final straw came when a human expedition stumbled upon an ancient artifact, a relic of a long-forgotten race that possessed technology beyond even the Council's understanding. The humans, true to their nature, began to study and reverse-engineer the artifact with a speed that alarmed the Council elders. In a closed session, the decision was made. Humanity was to be contained, their expansion halted, and their knowledge of advanced technologies erased. It was, the Council argued, for the greater good of the galaxy. The attack came without warning. Fleets of Council ships descended upon human colonies, their weapons far superior to anything Earth's forces could muster. Billions perished in the initial assault, entire worlds reduced to ash and rubble. Those who survived were herded back to Earth, their off-world settlements destroyed, their ships confiscated or destroyed. A barrier was erected around the solar system, an impenetrable shield that kept humanity trapped within its confines. The Council, satisfied with its work, turned its attention to other matters, confident that the threat had been neutralized. Decades passed, then centuries. The memory of humanity's brief foray into the stars faded from the collective consciousness of the Council races. New threats emerged, new wonders were discovered, and the quarantine solar system became little more than a footnote in galactic history. On Earth, however, the flame of rebellion never died. The survivors of the Council's attack passed down their stories, their knowledge, and their burning desire for vengeance. In secret bunkers deep beneath the planet's surface, in hidden laboratories on the moons of Jupiter and Saturn, humanity worked tirelessly to rebuild, to advance, and to prepare. They knew that one day, the Council would return. Whether out of curiosity or complacency, the barrier would be lifted, and humanity would have its chance, and when that day came, they would be ready. As the centuries rolled by, the Galactic Council's attention drifted further from the quarantine solar system. The younger races that had joined the Council knew of Earth only as a cautionary tale, a primitive world whose inhabitants had overreached and paid the price. Few bothered to question why such extreme measures had been taken against a single species. In the Council chambers on the capital world of Zenith Prime, debates raged over resource allocation, territorial disputes, and the ever-present threat of the Void Dwellers, an enigmatic race that lurked on the fringes of known space. The humans, once considered a potential threat to galactic stability, were now barely an afterthought. Arkan, a veteran diplomat from the Silicon-based Quartz Collective, found himself increasingly troubled by the Council's complacency. He had been young when the decision to quarantine Earth was made, and he remembered the fear that had gripped the Council chambers. Now, as he watched the newer members dismiss humanity as irrelevant, he couldn't shake the feeling that they were making a grave mistake. "We cannot continue to ignore the human question," Arkan said during a Council session, his crystalline form shimmering under the chamber's lights. "It has been too long since we last assessed their progress." Zara, a representative of the energy beings known as the Luminary, scoffed at Arkan's concern. "The humans, they are trapped on their homeworld. their technology stunted, their ambitions crushed. What possible threat could they pose? Archan's tone grew sharp, the edges of his form vibrating with intensity. Need I remind the Council of the tenacity this species showed, of how quickly they adapted to and improved upon technologies that took other races millennia to develop? We would be fools to assume they have remained stagnant all this time. The chamber fell silent, the weight of Archan's words hanging in the air. It was Prelate Vox, the eldest member of the Council, and a representative of the telepathic cerebrans, who finally spoke. Perhaps Vox's mental voice resonated in the minds of all present. It is time we took a closer look at our forgotten cousins. Not out of fear, but out of prudence. We owe it to ourselves and to them to see what has become of Earth in these long years of isolation. The decision was made to send a small reconnaissance fleet to the edge of the Sol system. Their mission was simple: observe, analyze, and report back. Under no circumstances were they to make contact or breach the barrier. It was to be a routine mission, a mere formality to put to rest the concerns of a few paranoid old-timers. As the fleet prepared for departure, none could have foreseen the chain of events they were about to set in motion. For behind the barrier, in the shadows of a solar system long thought tamed, humanity had not been idle. They had been waiting, planning, and preparing for this very moment. In the depths of Titan's methane seas, in sprawling underground cities on Mars, and in orbiting stations hidden from prying eyes, the descendants of those who had survived the Council's wrath watched and waited. Their technology, born of desperation and forged in secrecy, had evolved in ways the Council could never have imagined. General Elena Rodriguez, Supreme Commander of Earth's Unified Defense Forces, stood before a holographic display of the solar system. Pinpricks of light marked the positions of humanity's hidden outposts and fleets. She turned to the assembled leaders, her eyes blazing with the same fire that had driven her ancestors. "The moment we've prepared for is upon us," she said, her voice carrying the weight of centuries of oppression and hope. "The Council has forgotten the strength of humanity. It's time we reminded them." As the Council's reconnaissance fleet approached the barrier, unaware of the eyes watching their every move, humanity held its breath. The trap was set. The pieces were in place. All that remained was for the Council to make that one fatal mistake. The stage was set for a confrontation that would shake the very foundations of the galaxy. Humanity, long dismissed and forgotten, was about to emerge from the shadows, and the Galactic Council, in its complacency, had no idea of the storm that was about to break upon them. In the shadows of Saturn's rings, hidden from the prying eyes of the Galactic Council, humanity's greatest secret thrived. New Eden, a massive space station built from the remains of derelict ships and salvaged materials, had become the beating heart of human resistance. Its existence was a testament to human ingenuity and the unbreakable spirit of a species that refused to be cowed. Captain Zura Chen stood at the observation deck of New Eden, her dark eyes fixed on the swirling storms of Saturn below. At just 35, she was one of the youngest captains in the human fleet, a prodigy born and raised in the unforgiving environment of space. Like every child of New Eden, she had grown up with stories of Earth's glory and subsequent fall, tales that fueled a burning desire for justice and retribution. "Captain," a voice called from behind her. Zara turned to see her second-in-command, Lieutenant Axel Novak, approaching with a datapad in hand. "The latest reports from our deep space probes are in. It appears the Council is making their move." Zara's lips curved into a grim smile. "So the old fools have finally remembered us. It's about time." She took the datapad, her eyes quickly scanning the information. The Council's reconnaissance fleet was small, clearly not expecting any resistance. Their arrogance would be their downfall. "Alert General Rodriguez," Zara ordered, "and prepare the Phantom for immediate departure. We need to be in position before they reach the barrier." As Axel hurried to carry out her orders, Zara allowed herself a moment of reflection. The Phantom, her ship, was the pinnacle of human technological achievement. A craft capable of bending light around itself, It was for all intents and purposes invisible to both the naked eye and most scanning technologies. It was just one of the many innovations born from decades of isolation and the desperate need to survive. In the years following the Council's attack, humanity had been forced to adapt in ways they never thought possible. Cut off from the resources of other worlds, they turned their attention to maximizing what they had within the solar system. Mercury became a massive solar farm, its surface covered in panels that beamed energy back to Earth and the other colonies. Venus, once thought uninhabitable, now hosted floating cities in its upper atmosphere, where scientists worked on atmospheric manipulation techniques. Mars, already in the process of terraformation before the exile, had been transformed into a second Earth. Its underground cities stretched for hundreds of miles, housing millions and serving as the primary shipyard for humanity's growing fleet. But perhaps the most significant advancement came in the field of human augmentation. Faced with the harsh realities of long-term space habitation, scientists had developed ways to enhance the human body to withstand the rigors of space. Nanobots coursed through the veins of every human born off-world, repairing cellular damage and optimizing bodily functions. Neural implants allowed for direct interface with machines, turning starship pilots into living extensions of their vessels. As Zara made her way to the Phantom's docking bay, she passed by the statue that stood at the heart of New Eden. It depicted a man and a woman, their faces etched with determination, reaching towards the stars. At the base, a simple inscription read, "Never forget, never forgive. We will return." The Phantom's crew was already assembled when Zara arrived. Each member had been handpicked for this mission, representing the best humanity had to offer. As she took her place in the captain's chair, interfacing with the ship's systems through her neural implant, Zara felt a surge of pride. "All systems operational, Captain," reported the ship's eye, a quantum computer far more advanced than anything the Council races possessed. "We are ready for departure." Zara nodded, her mind already calculating possible scenarios. "Take us out, nice and easy. We don't want to draw any attention to ourselves." As the Phantom glided silently out of New Eden's docking bay, Zara couldn't help but feel a sense of anticipation. Years of preparation, of sacrifice and hardship, had led to this moment. The Council thought they had left humanity broken and defeated. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Back on Earth, in the sprawling underground complex that served as humanity's central command, General Elena Rodriguez watched as holographic displays showed the movement of both the Council's fleet and the Phantom. Around her, a team of the brightest military minds humanity had to offer worked tirelessly, coordinating the various elements of their plan. "General," one of her aides called out, "we're receiving a transmission from the Jovian colonies. They report that Project Prometheus is ready for deployment." Elena's eyes narrowed. Project Prometheus had been one of their most closely guarded secrets, a weapon of last resort that they hoped would never be needed. Its very existence was a violation of several intergalactic treaties, but then again, humanity was no longer bound by the Council's rules. "Acknowledge the transmission," Elena ordered. "Tell them to stand by for further instructions. We move only if absolutely necessary." As she turned her attention back to the main display, Elena couldn't help but reflect on the journey that had brought them to this point. She had been born on Earth, one of the last generations to know the planet as it was before the Council's attack. She had seen the devastation firsthand, had lost family and friends in the initial assault. But she had also seen humanity's resilience, their refusal to be broken. In the immediate aftermath of the attack, when despair threatened to overwhelm them, it was the discovery of the barrier's weakness that had given them hope. The Council, in their haste to contain humanity, had overlooked a fundamental aspect of the technology they used. The barrier, while impenetrable to conventional forms of matter and energy, had a slight fluctuation in its quantum field. It was this discovery that had set humanity on its current path. They realized that with the right technology, they could potentially slip past the barrier undetected. But to develop such technology would require resources and knowledge beyond what they currently possessed. And so, Operation Exodus was born. While the majority of humanity remained on Earth and the inner planets, appearing to struggle and regress as the Council expected, a select group was chosen to establish a hidden colony. New Eden became their home, a place where they could work without fear of discovery, pushing the boundaries of science and technology. Now, after centuries of preparation, humanity was ready to re-emerge onto the galactic stage. But they would do so on their own terms, not as supplicants begging for acceptance, but as a force to be reckoned with. As the Phantom approached the edge of the solar system, Zera received a final transmission from Earth. It was a simple message, but one that carried the weight of centuries of hope and determination. Remember, General Rodriguez's voice came through clearly. We are not just fighting for ourselves, but for every species that has ever been oppressed by the Council. Show them the true strength of humanity. Zera acknowledged the message, feeling a sense of purpose flood through her. They were about to change the course of galactic history, and she was at the forefront of it all. As the Council's fleet drew closer, blissfully unaware of the invisible predator watching their every move, Zera gave the order that would set in motion events that would reshape the galaxy. Engage stealth systems, she commanded. Prepare to breach the barrier on my mark. The moment of reckoning had arrived. Humanity, long constrained and underestimated, was about to unleash its full potential upon an unsuspecting galaxy. The Council had forgotten the threat they once feared. They were about to be reminded, in the most dramatic way possible, of the folly of their complacency. The Council's reconnaissance fleet approached the barrier with an air of routine indifference. To the seasoned crew, this mission was little more than a formality, a box to be checked off to appease the concerns of a few paranoid elders. Commander Vexlor, a veteran of the Arcturian Space Force, stood on the bridge of the lead ship, his tentacled appendages idly manipulating the holographic controls. Status report, Vexlor demanded, his multifaceted eyes scanning the data streams flowing across the view screens. All systems nominal, Commander, replied his second-in-command, a young Quetzal named Zera. Her feathered crest rippled with a mix of boredom and anticipation. We're approaching the outer edge of the Sol system. The barrier is within visual range. Vexlor nodded, his upper tentacles curling in acknowledgement. Initiate standard scanning protocols. Let's get this over with so we can report back to the Council that their pet humans are exactly where we left them. As the fleet began its scans, none of them noticed the slight distortion in space just beyond their sensor range. The Phantom, Zara Chen's invisible sentinel, watched and waited. Inside the cloaked ship, Zara and her crew monitored the Council fleet's every move. Years of preparation had led to this moment, and tension filled the air like an electric charge. Captain, Axel reported, his voice tight with controlled excitement. They've begun their scans. Should we make our move? Zara's eyes narrowed, her mind racing through countless scenarios. Not yet. Let them get a little closer. We need them to drop their guard completely. As if on cue, the comm system crackled to life with an intercepted transmission from the Council fleet. This is a waste of resources. Vexlor's voice came through clearly, dripping with disdain. These humans couldn't possibly have advanced beyond primitive spaceflight in their isolation. We should recommend reducing the barrier's power output. It's clearly unnecessary. A cold smile played across Zora's lips. That's our cue. Axel, initiate Operation Prometheus. Let's give them a wake-up call they'll never forget. With a series of silent commands through their neural interfaces, the crew of the Phantom sprang into action. The ship's advanced quantum drives hummed to life, creating a localized field that allowed them to slip through the barrier as if it wasn't even there. On board the Council's lead ship, alarms suddenly blared to life. Vexlor's tentacles flailed in surprise as he barked out orders. What's happening? Report. Zera's feathers stood on end as she frantically analyzed the incoming data. Commander, we're detecting a massive energy surge just off our port bow. It's coming from inside the barrier. Before Vexilor could respond, space itself seemed to ripple and tear. The Phantom decloaked directly in front of the Council fleet, its sleek, predatory form a stark contrast to the bulky, utilitarian designs of the alien vessels. By the eternal void, Vexilor breathed, his voice a mix of awe and terror. "What is that?" Zara's voice, transmitted on all frequencies, answered him. "This, Commander, is humanity's response to your arrogance. You caged us, tried to break us, and then forgot about us. That was your first mistake. This is your last chance to avoid the consequences of that error." The Council fleet scrambled to battle stations, but they were woefully unprepared for what came next. From the Phantom's bow, a beam of concentrated energy lashed out, slicing through the lead ship shields as if they were tissue paper. The vessel's hull buckled and split, venting atmosphere and crew into the void. "Impossible," Zara whispered, her young mind struggling to comprehend what she was seeing. "Their technology. It's beyond anything in our databases." Vexilor, his military training kicking in, began shouting orders. "Evasive maneuvers. Call for reinforcements. We need to contain this threat before." His words were cut short as the Phantom unleashed a barrage of quantum torpedoes. Each projectile phased through the Council ship's shields, detonating within their hulls with devastating effect. In a matter of minutes, the entire reconnaissance fleet was reduced to drifting debris. As the last explosions faded, Zara opened a channel to the few surviving escape pods. "Let this be a message to your Council. Humanity is no longer bound by your laws or your barriers. We're coming, and we're bringing with us the reckoning you've long deserved." Back on New Eden, General Rodriguez watched the battle unfold through the Phantom's live feed. A mix of emotions played across her weathered features: pride in their achievements, satisfaction at the long-awaited vengeance, but also a hint of sadness for the lives lost. This was only the beginning, and she knew the road ahead would be paved with difficult choices. "Send word to all our outposts," she commanded. "Operation Exodus is now in full effect. It's time to show the galaxy what humanity has become." Across the solar system, hidden bases sprang to life. On Mars, massive hangar doors opened, revealing fleets of ships that had been constructed in secret over centuries. The clouds of Venus parted as floating cities reconfigured into massive battle stations. Even the moons of Jupiter and Saturn transformed, revealing themselves to be fully armed and mobile fortress worlds. In the Kuiper Belt, automated factories that had been silently producing weapons and ships for decades kicked into overdrive. Pluto, long thought to be a dwarf planet of little significance, shed its icy shell to reveal a fully operational shipyard capable of producing capital ships that dwarfed anything in the Council's arsenal. As reports flooded in from across the system, Elena felt a surge of pride. Humanity had not just survived their exile. They had thrived, evolving into something far beyond what the Council could have imagined. But with this power came great responsibility, and the choices they made in the coming days would shape the future of not just humanity, but the entire galaxy. On the Phantom, Zara and her crew watched in awe as the full might of humanity's secret army revealed itself. Ships of all sizes, from nimble fighters to massive dreadnoughts, gathered around New Eden, forming a fleet that stretched as far as the eye could see. "Your orders, Captain," Axel asked, his voice filled with a mix of excitement and trepidation. Zara took a deep breath, feeling the weight of history on her shoulders. "Set a course for Zenith Prime. It's time we paid the Council a visit and renegotiated the terms of our existence in this galaxy." As the Phantom led the charge, breaching the barrier that had contained them for so long, humanity embarked on a journey that would reshape the cosmic order. The Council had made a fatal mistake in underestimating the human spirit, and now they would face the consequences of their arrogance. The galaxy held its breath, unaware that a storm was coming. A storm born of human ingenuity, resilience, and the unquenchable thirst for justice. The age of Council dominance was over. The era of humanity had begun. The news of humanity's resurgence spread through the galaxy like wildfire. On Zenith Prime, the capital world of the Galactic Council, panic gripped the normally stoic leaders. Emergency sessions were called, fleets were mobilized, and ancient defense systems, dormant for millennia, were brought online. Arkan, the court's collective diplomat, who had first voiced concerns about humanity, found himself at the center of a political maelstrom. As he strode into the grand chamber, the cacophony of worried voices hit him like a physical force. "You warned us, Arkan," Prelate Vox's mental voice cut through the chaos. "Now what do you propose we do?" Before Arkan could respond, the chamber's massive viewscreen flickered to life. The face that appeared sent shockwaves through the assembled dignitaries. It was a human face, weathered by age, but burning with an intensity that made even the most seasoned council members flinch. "I am General Elena Rodriguez of Earth," the woman spoke, her voice resonating with authority. "For centuries, you have kept us caged, believing us tamed and forgotten. That ends today." As Elena laid out humanity's demands, full recognition of their sovereignty, reparations for the damage caused by the Council's attack, and a seat at the galactic table, the Council members listened in stunned silence. The humans weren't just surviving. They were thriving, and their technological advancements were beyond anything the Council had anticipated. "You have 6 standard rotations to comply," Elena concluded. "Failure to do so will be considered an act of war. Choose wisely." As the transmission cut off, the chamber erupted into chaos. Accusations flew, blame was shifted, and panic began to set in. It was Arkan who finally managed to restore some semblance of order. "We cannot fight them," he declared, his crystalline form vibrating with urgency. "You've seen what their vanguard did to our reconnaissance fleet. Imagine what their full military might could do." But fear and pride are powerful motivators, and not all were willing to bow to human demands. Led by the hawkish Drekthar of the Vorn Imperium, a coalition formed, calling for immediate military action to crush the human rebellion. "We are the Galactic Council," Drekthar roared, his barbed tail lashing in agitation. "We have ruled the stars for eons. We will not be cowed by a species of upstart apes." As the Council devolved into factions, the human fleet, led by Captain Zora Chen and the Phantom, made its way through the galaxy. Their first target, Outpost Sigma 9, a key strategic installation that controlled access to several resource-rich sectors. Zara stood on the Phantom's bridge, watching as the outpost grew larger on the viewscreen. Unlike the reconnaissance fleet, Sigma 9 was well defended, bristling with weapon emplacements, and surrounded by a formidable defensive fleet. "They're hailing us, Captain," Axel reported. Zara nodded. On screen, the face of Outpost Commander Krull appeared, his insectoid features contorted in what passed for a sneer in his species. "Human vessels, you are in violation of Council space. Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded, or we will open fire." A cold smile played across Zora's lips. "Commander Krell, I'm giving you one chance to surrender. Power down your defenses and evacuate your non-essential personnel. You have 5 minutes to comply." Krell's mandibles clicked in agitation. "You dare to threaten us? You'll regret this, human." As the transmission cut off, Zora turned to her crew. "Battle stations. Axel, initiate the Chimera Protocol." Throughout the human fleet, ships began to change. Modular components shifted and reconfigured, transforming vessels in ways that defied the Council's understanding of shipbuilding. Cruisers became carriers, frigates morphed into heavy assault platforms, and even the smallest fighters revealed hidden weapons that outclassed anything in the Council's arsenal. The battle that followed was short and decisive. The Phantom, leading the charge, slipped through Sigma 9's defenses as if they weren't even there. Quantum torpedoes phased through shields, detonating within the hulls of enemy ships. Swarms of automated drones, each no larger than a human hand, but armed with devastating weaponry, overwhelmed point defense systems. From the fringes of the battle, A massive ship emerged from the shadows of a nearby gas giant. The Prometheus, humanity's ultimate weapon, revealed itself. A kilometer-long vessel built around a miniaturized star, it unleashed a beam of concentrated energy that cut through the outpost's main reactor like a hot knife through butter. Within an hour, Outpost Sigma 9, once thought impregnable, was reduced to a drifting hulk. Zara opened a channel to the survivors. Your outpost has fallen. Spread the word. Humanity is no longer bound by your rules. We offer peace, but we are prepared for war. The choice is yours. As news of Sigma 9's fall reached Zenith Prime, the Council's bravado crumbled. Drekthar and his warmongering faction found themselves quickly silenced as the reality of the situation set in. The humans weren't just fighting back. They were winning, and doing so with terrifying efficiency. Arkan, seizing the moment, made an impassioned plea for diplomacy. We must sue for peace, he argued. Every moment we delay, every outpost we sacrifice in futile resistance, we risk pushing humanity from righteous vengeance to total conquest. They have offered us a chance to avoid further bloodshed. We must take it. As debates raged in the council chambers, humanity's fleet continued its advance. Outpost after outpost fell, each victory a statement of human technological superiority and tactical brilliance. The Chimera ships, with their ability to adapt mid-battle, proved nearly impossible to counter. The Prometheus, now revealed as one of a class of similar vessels, became the stuff of nightmares for Council strategists. On Earth, General Rodriguez watched the galactic map with a mix of pride and concern. They were winning, yes, but at what cost? The line between justice and revenge was blurring, and she feared what humanity might become if they crossed it. General, one of her aides called out, "We're receiving a transmission from Zenith Prime. The Council, they're requesting a ceasefire." Elena closed her eyes, taking a deep breath. This was the moment they had fought for, the recognition they had dreamed of for centuries. But it was also a crossroads, a point where humanity would decide its path forward. "Patch them through," she ordered, "and send word to all our forces. Hold position but maintain battle readiness. This might be a trick, or it might be the dawn of a new era. Either way, we'll face it head-on." As the face of Prelate Vox appeared on the screen, Elena steeled herself for what was to come. The fate of not just humanity, but the entire galaxy, hung in the balance. The next few moments would determine whether the future would be one of peaceful coexistence or continued conflict. General Rodriguez, Vox's mental voice carried a note of respect that hadn't been there before. "On behalf of the Galactic Council, I come to you with an offer of peace." The words that followed would shape the course of galactic history for millennia to come. Humanity, long underestimated and oppressed, now held the power to forge a new future. The question was, what kind of future would they choose? The grand halls of Zenith Prime, once the exclusive domain of the Galactic Council's most elite members, now buzzed with an energy not felt in millennia. Representatives from every corner of the galaxy had gathered for an event that would reshape the cosmic order, the signing of the Terran Accords. At the center of it all stood General Elena Rodriguez, her weathered face a stark contrast to the alien visages surrounding her. Beside her, Captain Zora Chen and the crew of the Phantom stood at attention, symbols of humanity's indomitable spirit and technological prowess. Arkan, the court's collective diplomat who had championed peace, approached Elena with a mix of awe and respect. "General Rodriguez," he began, his crystalline form shimmering, "on behalf of the Galactic Council, I want to express our profound apologies for the injustices inflicted upon humanity. Your people's resilience and ingenuity have humbled us all." Elena nodded, her eyes scanning the room. "Apologies are a start, Counselor Arkan. But actions will speak louder than words. The galaxy is entering a new era, and humanity intends to ensure it's one of true equality and progress." As the formal proceedings began, holographic displays throughout the chamber showcased the incredible advancements humanity had made during their isolation. The Chimera-class ships, with their adaptive technology, had revolutionized space warfare. The Prometheus reactors promised to solve energy crises across the galaxy. But perhaps most astonishing were the breakthroughs in genetic engineering and nanotechnology that had enhanced human capabilities beyond what most species thought possible. Prelate Vox, speaking on behalf of the Council, addressed the gathered assembly. Today, we not only welcome humanity back into the galactic community, but acknowledge them as equals, perhaps even as leaders. Their journey from exiles to innovators serves as a testament to the potential within all species. The Terran Accords, meticulously negotiated over weeks of intense diplomacy, laid out a new framework for galactic governance. Humanity would not only gain a seat on the Council, but would lead a newly formed Department of Innovation and Progress. Earth and its colonies were recognized as sovereign territories, with the Sol system designated as protected space. But the Accords went beyond just addressing humanity's grievances. Inspired by Earth's resurgence, provisions were made to review the status of other quarantined or sanctioned species. A commitment to technological sharing, under careful regulation, was established to prevent any one group from monopolizing advancement. As Alina put her signature on the document, officially sealing humanity's new role in the galaxy, she couldn't help but reflect on the long journey that had brought them to this point. The sacrifices, the hardships, the unwavering determination of countless individuals who had kept the flame of hope alive through centuries of isolation. With the formalities concluded, the real work began. Across the galaxy, joint human-alien teams were formed to tackle the most pressing issues facing various worlds. The adaptability and outside-the-box thinking that had allowed humanity to survive and thrive in isolation now proved invaluable in solving problems that had plagued other species for generations. On a terraforming project on the outskirts of Vorn space, Zara found herself working alongside Krell, the very same commander she had faced in battle at Outpost Sigma 9. The irony wasn't lost on either of them. "I must admit, Captain Chen," Krell chittered, his mandibles clicking in what Zara had learned was amusement. "When you destroyed my outpost, I never imagined we'd be colleagues one day." Zara smiled, watching as human-designed nanobots transformed the barren landscape around them. "That's the beauty of change, Commander. It opens up possibilities we never could have imagined." Back on Earth, the planet was experiencing a renaissance. The return of off-world technology, combined with the innovations developed in secret, led to a period of unprecedented growth and prosperity. Cities were rebuilt, ecosystems restored, and for the first time in centuries, humanity looked to the stars not with longing or resentment, but with a sense of belonging. The Phantom, now a symbol of human ingenuity, was retired from active military service and recommissioned as a diplomatic vessel. Its mission: to seek out isolated or struggling civilizations and offer them the hand of friendship and progress that Earth had been denied for so long. Yet not all was perfect in this new galactic order. Some council races, particularly those who had held power for eons, chafed at the rapid changes. Fringe groups emerged, arguing that humanity's rise threatened the established order. Alina and her advisors watched these developments closely, knowing that eternal vigilance was the price of freedom. 5 years after the signing of the Terran Accords, a ceremony was held on Mars to inaugurate the Sol System Defense Network. As the massive energy shield flickered to life, encompassing the entire system in a protective bubble far more advanced than the barrier that had once imprisoned them, Alina addressed the gathered crowd. "This shield represents not our isolation, but our commitment to peace through strength," she declared. "We build it not to hide from the galaxy, but to ensure that never again will Earth or any world under our protection face existential threat. Our mission now is not conquest or vengeance, but to be the guardians of progress and justice across the stars." As her words echoed across the red Martian landscape, cheers erupted from the assembled humans and aliens alike. The scene was a far cry from the desperate struggles of the past centuries, a testament to how far they had come and a promise of an even brighter future. In the decades that followed, Humanity's influence spread across the galaxy, not through force, but through innovation and diplomacy. The adaptive principles of chimera technology found applications in everything from starship design to urban planning. Human-led scientific expeditions pushed the boundaries of known space, making discoveries that reshaped understanding of the universe itself. Perhaps most profoundly, the story of Earth's exile and triumphant return became a beacon of hope for oppressed species across the galaxy. It sparked a wave of social and political reforms, as worlds long dominated by entrenched powers found the courage to demand change. On the centennial anniversary of humanity's return to the galactic stage, a time capsule was sealed in the heart of New Eden. Inside, along with artifacts chronicling their journey, was a message for future generations. To those who come after us, remember that our greatest strength lies not in our technology or our weapons, but in our spirit. We faced extinction and emerged stronger. We were isolated and forged our own path. We were underestimated and proved our worth. Let our story be a reminder that no challenge is insurmountable, no odds unbeatable, when we stand united in purpose and unwavering in resolve. The stars are not just our destination, they are our legacy and our responsibility. Guard them well. As the capsule was sealed, Elena, now in the twilight of her years, looked out at the assembled crowd. A vibrant mix of humans and aliens, all working together towards a common future. She smiled, knowing that while challenges would always arise, humanity had proven itself ready to face whatever the universe might throw at them. The Galactic Council had forgotten humanity's potential, dismissing them as a footnote in cosmic history. In doing so, they had unwittingly set the stage for a revolution that would reshape the very fabric of galactic society. Humanity, once caged and forgotten, had emerged as the architects of a new cosmic order, one built on innovation, resilience, and the indomitable spirit of a species that refused to be broken. As the celebration continued, the stars seemed to shine a little brighter, beckoning towards a future filled with endless possibilities. Humanity had not just reclaimed its place in the galaxy, it had transcended it, becoming a force for progress and change that would echo through the cosmos for eons to come.